Right now.
Whoa.
Meaning like they can see us.
Yeah.
Look at you, Danon, just throwing us right into the deep end. I love it. Hello, everybody. Here, we'll wait just 10 seconds to verify that you guys can see us. We want to make sure that we are obviously actually live because that'd be kind of silly, wouldn't it? Okay, because we should also be live on both Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, right?
Yep. Okay, we are live on Facebook.
We're live on Facebook. Hello, everybody on Facebook.
Hey, hey.
We're double checking YouTube right now. I'll turn off my volume just in case, because that'd be real fun. Okay, you know, if we are live on Facebook, then we're pretty good.
Yep,
we are
we're
pretty
live.
good. Awesome.
Yep, we're live on
Can you see us on YouTube? This is exciting. This is exciting. This is the first time we are going to be live on multiple different platforms. Yeah, look at us. Hey, it's us.
That's us.
Guys, if it looks weird that I'm like looking over here, it's because I have a computer here. I'm going to be moderating, also making sure that, you know, if you guys have any questions, that we get them answered while Mark is going through the training today. So for anyone who is new to this, welcome to what amounts to our Thursday training, Thursday Managed by Stats training. My name is Curtis Johnson. I am the president of Managed by Stats. This is Mark Jepson. He is the chief operations officer. Basically, we are going to take a dive down the statistics, metrics, key performance indicators road today, and show you just different ways in which you can view both different, capabilities between dashboard, statistics, all of that good stuff, and try and give you some insight.
Yeah, we've had a lot of customers asking questions in regards to the differences that they'll see on the dashboard versus what they'll see in the statistics tab. So we wanted to get that very clearly clarified for everyone because it's done for an exact reason and it's very precise. And so we wanted to just kind of dive into all of that.
Perfect. Okay, good. So then, otherwise, good. So I can see comments both on Facebook and on YouTube. So wherever you guys are, go ahead and shoot me any questions you have because the whole thing with this, the whole reason that we're doing this is we want to give you guys training both on Managed by Stats and kind of the concepts that underpin why we have those tools. So like obviously there's a reason that we want you to be looking at your metrics, KPIs, things like that. So on that fine note, I'm going to let Mark dive into dashboard and he's going to kind of give you a little bit of an intro, show you around, and then keep going from there.
Awesome.
Cool. I'll be right here.
Perfect. And then is my screen being shared?
Screen is being
Perfect. Just let us know if you can see Managed by Stats account now.
It will probably take a minute. You tell us if it's up on your side.
Yeah, it's live, so
Okay.
yes, now it's up.
Okay, perfect.
All right, awesome. So the first thing that you're going to want to look at, obviously for your business, is the key performance indicators. You want to make sure that if you notice anything that's going down on any of those, that indicates to you that there's an area of your business that you need to look into. So sessions, obviously are people coming to your listing? So that's going to be your advertising. That's going to be any kind of external advertising you have. Are people getting to your listing and what are they doing from there? So the first indicator is, are they getting there? If you see that declining or if you see it drops dramatically for a day or for a couple days or something like that, there's areas you can look into. Did your product get de-indexed for certain things? Did it get removed? Do you have a hijacker? And then if that's not the case, okay, look at your advertising. Did your advertising stop? Did you run out of money on your credit card there? Or did your ad stop performing in a certain way so you started to get a whole bunch of lessening impressions? So that's going to be a first little indicator you want to look at. The second thing, conversions. Pretty simple. Are people actually converting when they go to your listing? So you're driving people to your listing. Are they converting or not? And this is a very good indicator of, okay, maybe there's something wrong with your listing. The image might be not quite speaking to the right audience, or your title and bullets might not be speaking to those particular audiences. Or you could have a price, or let's say your price is higher than the most of the competitors on page 1. Or maybe you got some bad reviews, and so your review dropped, and now you have a 4-star instead of a 4.5, whereas most of your competitors have higher. Something like that. So that's a good indicator to keep an eye on. Profit. Okay, so now that you're getting sales, are those sales profitable? Are you spending an appropriate amount of money to get those sales and still have profit from that? So very key thing to look at. We're all in this game to make profit and actually expand our own lives and do what we want to do. So that's a key factor there. And then, of course, the most important thing, average review. If you have bad reviews or a bad average review rating, you're going to have a hard time competing with the other people on there. So that's the first kind of area you want to look at, and that's going to tell you what area you need to dive into. So let's stop there. Any questions?
We have one
comments?
question from Todd, and it's probably just something to clarify. Why am I not seeing the top line of data with sessions and conversions on my dashboard?
So on here, he's not seeing any sessions or conversions?
Todd, if you want to clarify that point.
Okay. There could be, so if he is getting if you are getting sessions and conversions, you see that in Seller Central and you're not seeing that in Managed by Stats, there could be something that's not connected. Maybe there's a permission that you need to provide inside of Managed by Stats. That could be what is missing there. Otherwise, if you're not getting sessions and conversions and you're not getting them in Seller Central, okay, then you need to actually start doing some advertising and getting your listing or your product out there and in front of people's faces.
Yeah, so he's clarifying, he is saying correct that he's just not seeing it on there.
Yeah, so it's probably just a user permission setting
exactly.
that would need to be checked. We can check that on the back end, but there's advertising permissions and other user permissions that will be needed as part of setting up your Managed by Stats account.
I told him to write over to support at Managed by Stats. We have Chris, who is basically handling anything on that side while we're doing this. So Chris will get right to that, Todd.
Perfect. Cool. All right, awesome. I'm going to jump into this next area. So we've had a lot of questions, as I mentioned earlier, of why there might be different statistics that they'll see on the dashboard, especially here in the sales stats area, as compared with what they'll see inside of your profits area. So this is the statistics area, but this is a full financial breakdown. So the simple clarification, and then there's going to be more details in this, but the simple thing is the dashboard includes pending transactions. So you have sales from today and yesterday that are still going to be pending, and when that credit card goes through on Amazon's side for that customer, and it's now a paid sale, Amazon has the income, they will then ship the product, and that's now a completed transaction or a settled transaction. So the dashboard only shows or will include pending and settled transactions, whereas the profits statistics tab will only include settled transactions. So as an example, I'm looking at in here on the statistics tab, you have by product, and I'm looking at week. So I'm looking at a week view, 23rd to the 26th, and I can see here for the cocktail I have 144 sales, and for the wine 233. Now if I go to the dashboard and I look at my wine and my whiskey dashlets on 7 days, I can see that my wine has 229 orders, but 334 units. So let's look at wine, 334 compared to 233. So you can see there's a ton of pending transactions from today and yesterday that are not showing up in here, but you can see them here. And same thing for whiskey. I have 234 total units sold in the last 7 days, and in here on the statistics tab for cocktail, I have 144. So that's the very clear distinction is if you want to see how things are going today, yesterday, looking in a time range from right now, a little bit backwards, you want to view that data on your dashboard. If you're going to look at a little bit deeper dive, you want to look at how are you doing financially, or how are your sales doing on a sort of a 30-day view or a longer range view. That's where you're then going to want to use the statistics tab right here, or other reports that we have inside of the software. But that's going to give you a broad view of what completed from the completed transactions. How are the metrics? Are those profitable? Are they not? And gives you a very clear understanding of what areas will you need to jump into. But that's the very first thing. Now, in addition to that, on the dashboard, you have the ability to add graphs to your dashboard. About 95% of the graphs all use settled transactions. So in here, you're going to be looking at settled transaction data. And that's an important thing too, because you might see from yesterday or today, let's put this on today. And we can see today I have 15 sales, and yesterday I have 65. If I look at my graph here, there he goes, it pulled up enough data. So it has it matching 65. But sometimes through the API, when we get these reports for the settled transactions, it will not have all the data. So in fact, this is probably one of the graphs. Yep, quantity ordered. So like I said, there's 95% of the graphs only use settled transactions. There's about 5% of them that use pending and settled. Quantity ordered is one of those graphs, whereas if we did quantity paid for, that's going to be only settled stuff. So you can see that's only paid for transactions. So this one's going to match up. But that's just a point to look at, is if you add graphs into your dashboard, 95% of them are settled transaction graphs, and that's the same thing when you go into profits, statistics, that's settled transactions, and your sales graphs, like you can see here, these are all going to be settled transactions graphs. And so that's a kind of a very clear distinction. I'm going to stop there and see if there's any questions or
right now, just a couple people saying thanks, watching. Otherwise, keep rocking and rolling.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, so another point that we had some questions on in regards to the dashboard is your restock alerts. So if we scroll down here, on this brand, we only have 2 products in here really selling on Amazon. There's a couple other ones, FBM, being sold on our website. But let's say you have 100 products or 50 products. The restock alert dashlet is only going to show you the products that actually need to be restocked. So based off of your restock lead time and your speed of sales and what you have in stock, it's going to say, hey, you need to restock this now or in some future date that's getting close. So you won't see all of your products on the restock alert. You'll see the ones that actually are triggering from those calculations, your restock lead time, how many sales you've had in the last 30 days, and how much you have in stock. So that's just another point to kind of think with, is not all of them are going to show up in there, just the ones that need to be restocked. Another point on that as well is, let's say you have a product that does sell out, and you know you're not going to have it in stock for another 30 days, or you had some horrible thing happen with your boats and they're not going to arrive in time, so you have 2 months of whatever, right? You could get rid of that from here, so you don't have to keep seeing that every day, because you know that you've already placed your order, it's on the boat, it's at the dock, hopefully it'll come in soon. If you wanted to not get rid of that from here, simply click this little edit button. It'll open up the details of that product, and then you can make inventory visible. So that's going to show up, if you have this button checked, it's going to show up on your Restock Alerts dashlet. So in this case, I can say, well, I already know I have this, it's en route, I should have it in a couple weeks, so I'm just going to remove it from there. I'll want to put it back later on, but for now I can save it, go back to my dashboard, do a little refresh here, and boom. Now I only have my wine glasses there. So that's another little point to look at. Okay, I think that's the majority of what I wanted to cover. Let's see, what else is there? Yeah, that's the main thing. We can dive into this section next if we want to.
We might as well. I think it would probably be a good idea.
Great. So a lot of you are probably familiar with the statistics tab. This is what a lot of our customers go into. So kind of do a little recap of it. You have different settings you can do here, so you can view it by your brand or product line. So if I do brand, it'll take all my products and show me what I'm doing as a whole. If I do product lines, I have a whiskey product line and a wine product line, so it'll separate them out like that. And then of course I can look at them by the actual product name. And then if you are if you have a photographic memory, you can you can look at your view by ASIN if you're familiar with that, or of course SKUs. If you use some kind of naming structure in your SKUs, you can look at it that way as well. And then of course you have date ranges here, so you can look at by statements. So this statement view will match up precisely with your statement from Seller Central. So if you look at those details, this will be an exact kind of replica of that. But we break things apart a lot more in detail than what you get there. So you can actually see by product, which, how many sales, any rebates that you've had, what Amazon's taking for each of those sales, any kind of other costs. So there's like if a customer pays for shipping or something like that. Of course, how many you sold, any refund data. So we break all that apart by refunds that you might have had, your Amazon payout, so what they're paying out to you by product. Your cost of goods, so you've entered your cost of goods inside of Managed by Stats, so it'll think with that. Any inbound shipping costs you've had, your advertising costs, so it gives you a much clearer breakdown of all the details of your product. And you can tell, okay, maybe one of your products is, you're advertising, let's say you're advertising the same on both of your products, but somehow one of them's converting less, and you're getting, at the end of the day, your profit percent is getting lower and lower and lower. You can see those metrics from the exact breakdown of what each product is doing. We also include sales tax in here. This last one, this one here, ACOTS, advertising cost of total sales. It's basically a more technically correct way of saying total ACOS or real ACOS. A lot of people use different terms in the industry, but this is a very technical way of saying it. It's your advertising cost of total sales. So this is a very key metric you'll want to look at aside from your ACOS. So we give you that in here so you can actually see along with your profits and ROI, is your advertising on point? And then here you got your approximate profit. Of course, there's other profit points in there, like if you have a VA or if you're doing Facebook advertising or stuff that's external from Amazon Seller Central. And then of course we give you a percentage and your ROI. One of the cool things about this is if you do have a VA or Facebook advertising or some kind of external expense that you're doing, you can add that in here. So we have additional expenses right here. And I don't think I've added any into this account, but we can see, where'd it go? All right, additional expenses, yeah, it's 0 right here. But it's a very robust system where you can actually add in, let's say you have a VA, right? You paid them $1,000 for the month. You could separate that out. You can have that $1,000 be separated out for that month or for 2 weeks or whatever it was that she worked, that person worked in that time. And also separate it out evenly by product or have it applied to only one product or one brand. So that's all covered in here in additional expenses. But that way you can get your profit figure being a little bit more closer to what your actual pocketable profits are.
One question, Lisa's asking, now it's not on this page, but she's asking, is there a way to export restock needs? Like what items need to be restocked?
That is a good question. I don't think so. Let's see here. I do not think so. No, currently no.
But something we can look at.
One thing we can check though, inventory management. So if you go to your inventory management, you can see I have that other one removed from it. Here you can export it. So on the dashboard, let me just go back and open this in a new tab.
Yeah.
So on the dashboard, you'll see the alerts here, but if you want to export it, let's say you have 100 or 50 products, right, and you want to know, okay, which ones actually need to be restocked, you can go to your products tab here, and then go to inventory management. And then as you can see, I removed whiskey from being viewed here, but if I add it back in, you can have all your products here. You have them by estimated restock date. You can sort it by that date, so you'll have all the ones that need to be restocked now or in the nearest future, and then export that into a CSV so you can put that into your warehouse system or whatever else.
Awesome. And then Todd is asking, where do we update our product costs in the system?
Awesome, good question. So that's a key point that we advise people doing when they first sync up their account, because you're going to want to see from day one when you're getting sales going, how is your advertising and what Amazon's taking from you, how's that all affecting the bottom line. So if you go to products and you go to SKUs, you want to go to SKU level. There's an ASIN level and SKU level, but SKU level is going to be where you want to do it. And in here you can see we have a cost column, and then we also have inbound shipping. So if you keep your, let's say your ocean freight shipping or your cost that you, or sending in from your warehouse to FBA, if you keep those costs separate from your cost of goods, then you can enter them there separately if you like. I do that with these two products. Yeah, so this is where you would update it. There's a couple ways of doing it. You can do an individual, you can update an individual product by just clicking on the edit button here. Let's go and do the cocktail glasses, add it back into our tracker. In fact, I could have just clicked that, but yeah. I'll do this. And so we could go in there and edit it individually. So let's go back in here and click on it again. And we have our cost of goods down here, right? So here you can see we also have we built in a nice way of keeping track of your cost of goods over time. So a couple of years ago, I had a cost of goods. My manufacturer raised my cost of goods on a certain date. My inventory arrived with that new cost of goods. So I can enter in here. My current cost is up here at the top, but the last day that these costs were valid, so January 1st, 2021, 518. August 01, 518, so that stayed the same, but my shipping costs were different. November 2018, I was at 470. So you can kind of build that in, and what the nice thing about that is when you build that into this area, the dashboard, all these metrics, and your statistics here, all of this data will sync with that for those dates. So now if you look at, let's say you do a monthly view or a yearly view, it's going to sync with those cost of goods adjusting over that time frame. So again, a very vital thing to do from the beginning, so you actually know, okay, the profits that you're seeing over here, are they actually correct, or is there other stuff that needs to come out of that?
Yeah, and it might even be good, maybe show the additional expenses since we kind of alluded to it.
Absolutely.
Because here's the thing, guys, you have to look at it this way, like some people get a little bit caught up on the gross revenue side, but what's obviously much more important to your company's health is going to be your profit.
Yeah.
So it's very important for you to track these things. You don't have to obviously track additional expenses and manage by stats, but you should track them obviously somewhere.
Yeah.
But you can at least get profit based off of your settled transactions, taking all of your advertising into consideration. If you're not tracking that stuff, you're not really seeing the true health of your business.
Yep. Okay, cool. Yeah, so additional expenses, we'll just add one here. And we'll just do a pretend one. So here you can see we have a start date. So I'm just going to say the 1st of May. End date, I'll do, let's say the 22nd. The cost, so let's say this is for, I updated my website or something, right? So I'm just going to say $1,000.
Dana, what was that one we did earlier? I think it was government briberies, I believe, right?
Government briberies.
Senator briberies, yeah. That's right, yeah.
So we could say that here, bribes.
That's right.
Okay, so then on the split, so this is where it gets pretty cool, right? So you can do it by quantity sold. So let's say you have multiple products, you can split that $1,000 by the quantity sold. So if you have one product that sells 300 in that time period and the other product sold 100, the cost is going to be split appropriately, right? So by quantity sold. You can also do it by revenue. So again, instead of number of units, you can do actual revenue from each of those sales. So if you want to split it that way, you can as well. You can then also put it just by brand, so it'll split it up by different brands, or assign it to a specific product. So I'll just do quantity sold in this case. And then of course you can pick which product, so I can do my whole brand, throw it over there, or I can bring it down to a product group or individual products. So in this case, I'll just do the whole brand, I'll throw it over there, and I'll add it. So now when we look at our statistics in our profits area, I'm going to refresh this. And now we have additional expenses right here. $365 for this product, $634 for that product. So you can see it just automatically adds it in there. And you can do that, once a month or, every pay period or whatever, or whenever you think of it. And that way you can have a little bit more, making this number a little bit more accurate to what you're actually going to be taking home.
Awesome. Well, and we didn't want to have these go too long, so we're knocking on the door of half hour. So why don't I have a question for you, but then while I'm asking him that question, if you guys have any questions, make sure to throw them in now, because as you know, with like social media and streaming live, there's a second or two lag, so we don't want to end off just as you guys are coming up with your questions. So go ahead and throw any questions you have in here right now, and then I'll see them in just a second. So for your guys' brand, what are some of, obviously there's the KPIs, but other than the KPIs, what statistics are you monitoring and what adjustments do you make on those statistics?
Yeah, so I use the dashboard, I look at the KPIs. So my indicators are simply that, are my sessions going up or down, and are my conversions going up or down. I've kind of honed in my PPC a lot, so I know that area is doing pretty well, but this will give me a clear indicator if something did go wrong there. So that's the main things I'll look at. I'll go, okay, am I getting exposure? Am I converting well on those? I'll look at my daily stats here to see how it's performing from today and yesterday. So this is just including the prior date range, right? And that's the main thing. I glance at that. I can glance at it on my phone with the app. Otherwise, I'm not really looking at the metrics every day on the sales. I'm more looking at what kind of actions can I do to increase those sales. So, I'll look at my advertising. I'll look at Facebook advertising. Collaborations on Instagram. Anything I can do externally to bring in more traffic to the listings is kind of where my attention now goes. Having this, to be able to go, okay, good, things are going okay, and there's no, what do you call it? Emergency signs. Yeah, there's nothing crazy happening here. Then great, I can continue my battle plan of getting blogs out, getting connect up with influencers, making advancements to my website, whatever else, any other marketing actions.
Well, and there's a couple things to point out here, not to like toot Mark's horn, but if you look, he's obviously got a good product. His average review is right up at the top. It's obviously as close to 5-star with large volume sales as you're going to be doing.
Let's make a point. This is real data.
This is one of his two brands.
Yeah.
This is not a mock-up. This is his brand. This is his brand with Philip, and then you guys have another one. But this brand, these are two of the main products. You obviously see wine, whiskey. They're two different tumblers. And you also can see, if you look at the sessions conversions on both of these, what you're noticing is they're very similar looking. What that means is he's obviously got his advertising honed in to the point that the sessions that are being driven in are in proportion resulting in conversions.
Yep.
So if you're driving in a ton of sessions but your conversions aren't reacting the same way, you're obviously not getting the right kind of traffic. Maybe you're driving in the wrong keywords, things like that.
Right.
Also, it probably makes it a lot easier because I know that I've obviously been around through the gyrations with this particular brand. you guys are, you mentioned you've kind of got the advertising honed in. You guys have been with PPC Logic for how long with this brand now?
I think about 9 months.
Yeah, and I know from what you guys have been telling me that that's also made that easier. So like,
Absolutely.
you have to look at this in a different way. Yeah, you have to stack these advantages. If you can see it at a glance, that's less time that you need to spend analyzing multiple different reports because you can see it in one glance, things are obviously going well. PPC Logic makes it so there's less time that you have to spend on advertising, at least PPC. It makes it so you can spend more time, like you were saying, doing collaborations,
Yep.
you know, working with influencers, things like that. It gives you time to kind of branch out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And another thing on that, with what you had asked earlier of like what other data points you might want to look at. So when we first got started with this brand, trying to build it up, trying to make it profitable, we did look at the statistics every day. You know, we were in there, you know, checking it multiple times a day, trying to see, you know, what happened, how did it go, what did we, you know, if we did this, what happened, and a very good system to use for that is a tracker, a launch tracker. There's several of them out there. We created one in connection with a partner company, and that's inside here, Catapult launch tracker. And this, if you're getting started and you want to just see, okay, where are these things at? How are they doing? Oh, I might not have any of these being tracked in here now. So it might, yeah, it's going to take a second. This will, I think this will update in a few hours. So we have a very detailed launch tracker that basically shows you day by day your sessions, your sales, your conversions. If you're giving, you know, if you're doing some kind of giveaways or some kind of rebate system or something, you know, you can track those in there as well. But doing something like that is very, very smart because you can actually see day to day, if you make a change, if you do something on your advertising, you do a post, you do whatever, does it actually result in a change the next day or that same day? So I advise using something like that so you can actually see what your efforts do. And then of course, beyond that, the other thing would be a keyword tracker. So if you're not using yeah, I'll go ahead and exit out of this. If you're not using a keyword tracker, you can go in here and set up your keyword tracker here. This is a very visual way of seeing your keyword ranking. So here I have it sorted by rank, but I like to sort by search frequency rank. This is basically search volume. And here you can see the lower the number, the better. And I want to make sure I'm ranking better and better and better for these. The lower the number, the better I know I'm getting exposure. So
Can you explain that a little bit, why lower is better?
yeah, so it's a search frequency rank. It's a complicated system that Amazon built when they got rid of their search volume system. So a lot of people were basing you know, metrics and software off of search volume from Amazon. Amazon stopped that and they created a search frequency rank. Basically, it's the popularity of that search term for Amazon. So we know basically in the top million search terms, whiskey glasses is 3,827 on its rank. Right. So number one is going to be ranked the best. So the lower the number on the rank, on the search frequency rank, the better.
Right.
It gets a little bit confusing because why they named it that, because then you go, okay, what's my rank? Where am I ranking? Right, which is over here. You're on page 2, number 79. That's where you're ranking for that keyword. So it gets a little bit.
There's some dude on the back end of Amazon who was
Fully.
like, you know what? Let's just mess with these guys just a little.
Fully. So
yeah, I'll get to that question for sure. Go ahead.
So yeah, so this just gives you a very visual view of are you ranking for this or not. And yeah, so this is the other area that you want to look into when you're doing a launch and getting started.
Awesome. And then Better Life USA says, so you suggest looking at statistics every day or every week, month? I don't know. I don't want to have analysis to paralysis.
Yes, exactly. So when you're first getting started, I would say try not to look at your statistics every day. I couldn't do it. I looked at my stats every like 3 or 4 times a day. But the ideal thing would be, yeah, look at it maybe, you know, every, I don't know, 4 days or once a week.
If you can.
Yeah, like go into your Managed by Stats, glance at it, glance at your KPI. That way you don't have to do a whole bunch of analysis by paralysis, right? You can go, are things going good? Yes. Great. I can go on to my marketing, my advertising, your actions that are going to increase the exposure of your products. If you do that, it's simple. You don't have to do a whole bunch of analysis and deep dive, whatever. Every couple of weeks, definitely dive in, do a deep dive. Look at your financials, look at your advertising, do a deep dive. Maybe even do that once a week so you can actually see what's happening each week. But
yeah, it also depends on, like what you're saying, is it a cursory glance, is it a deep dive?
Right.
Also, are you looking at statistics that innately will have a lag between when you implement versus when it's going to actually take effect.
Yep, and that's the beauty of the dashboard. It helps you, we don't have a dashboard anymore, bump. You can look at, when you just open it up either on your phone or on the computer, open it up, look at that KPI, look at your sales stats for the day and go, okay, good, things are moving. I've gotten some sales today. Okay, I know that things are operational. The listing is not deleted. No one's hijacked me. You don't have to be super concerned about these huge problems because you see that there is something happening. And then, okay, good. Think of and a lot of teachers will or mentors will go over this. Like, you have to have a plan of how you're going to expand your product. You can't just put it up and throw some dollars at PPC and hope that it's going to do great. Back in 2014, maybe you could do that. You could probably do that with a couple products. Nowadays, no. You need to have a marketing plan. You need to be thinking. This is a business. It's a side hustle, or something that's going to get you out of a 9-to-5. But it still is a business that you have to create on and push forward and nurture it. And once you get it to a certain level, you'll see you're looking at your stats every day. Okay, now you can look at it once a week. Mm-hmm. Now you're like, okay, you glance at it maybe once a day, but you're glancing at the KPI, making sure things are okay, and then you're on to your other promotional actions. And then you do a deep dive every week or every 2 weeks to make sure that things are fine-tuned or whatever. But you'll find a lot of big sellers that just kind of go, I get 100, 200, 300 sales a day. They're not looking at the stats every day. They're working on finding a new way to get in touch with their clients or to advertise their product or drive in more traffic externally to Amazon to get a better ranking. They're doing other things marketing-wise to drive traffic to those listings.
And then we have Todd. Now, Todd was the gentleman who had the same problem earlier with the connection point. So he's saying, any idea how to get that SFR to show on Keyword Tracker? My page just shows how I am currently ranked for that keyword in that spot.
Okay. It should be showing there. So if it's not, that might be a technical glitch, which we can get fixed probably in the next 20 minutes. So
but yours was up, right?
Yeah.
Just to verify?
Yep. Sure was. I think I overwrote it. Let's do
back into it. One moment, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far right there.
Yeah. So, so if you just start, so this is one thing. If you start tracking keywords today, like you put in them right now, it will show 1M plus. That basically means 1 million plus. So it will, if let's say you've grabbed those keywords from Keyword Scout, which is a kind of a reverse ASIN tool to find keywords that your competitors are using. You can, and those are high search volume words, and you put them in here. For today, it'll show 1M plus. The next morning, when it actually checks your ranking, it'll give you the actual SFR.
Good. Okay. Awesome. I'm not seeing any other questions. We'll wait and chit-chat for like an 1/8 of a second here while anyone who has a last question has an opportunity to get in. That's why I'm dragging this sentence out for so long.
Without any commas
Without
or periods.
any commas or any periods, and just very staccato, whatever. Good. Well, otherwise, if you throw in a question really quick, great. But so that's really it we have for this training. We're going to obviously have another episode of How to Hunt a Whale tomorrow. So that's going to be same time, 2 o'clock. Otherwise, obviously, it's Memorial Day weekend. So everyone have fun. Don't drink too much. Or, I'm just going to leave your life choices up to you, actually. You do you. Welcome to America. This is a free country, darn it. I said darn it instead of damn it. And I followed it up with damn it. No other questions. Okay, that's all the time we have here, guys. Thank you all so